An American farmer said something that captures the entire crisis in one sentence. We don't want a bailout. We want a market. Bailouts don't work. Bailouts are band-aids. Behind those words is the pain of thousands of farmers who feel their livelihoods slipping away because of decisions made far from their fields. This issue isn't about politics. It's about real people who wake up before sunrise to feed the nation and are now struggling to survive. For decades, American farmers relied on stable global markets. They sold soybeans, corn, pork, wheat, and dairy to countries that depended on U.S. agriculture. But when tariffs hit, those markets collapsed almost overnight. China shifted to buying soybeans from Brazil. Other countries found new suppliers. Contracts that took decades to build vanished in months. Farmers who were once thriving suddenly faced falling prices, growing debt, and uncertainty about how long they could hold on. The government responded with bailout checks, but farmers saw them for what they were: temporary patches on a much bigger problem. You can't replace a lost market with a one-time payment. You can't rebuild long-term trust with short-term money. Many farmers used those checks just to pay bank loans or keep their farms from going under. And even after the bailouts, the markets didn't return the same way. Once global buyers move to new suppliers, coming back isn't guaranteed. This crisis shows something deeper. Tariffs may sound tough, but the people hurt most are the same Americans who keep the country fed. Farmers don't want handouts, they want stability. They want fair access to markets, not economic battles they never asked to fight. If the nation wants a strong agricultural future, it must listen to the voices rising from the heartland before it's too late. Imagine a farmer standing in the middle of his empty field, looking at the soil that fed his family for generations. He whispers, "We don't want a bailout. We want a market." That single line shakes the entire debate. It's not drama, it's desperation. These farmers aren't talking about theories or politics. They're talking about survival. Tariffs sounded tough on paper, but on the ground, they triggered a silent disaster. The same men and women who worked through floods, droughts, and storms suddenly found themselves battling something even harder: losing the buyers they depended on. And when your market disappears, your entire world collapses with it. This is the hook of their story, a warning from America's food producers that something is deeply wrong, and the country isn't paying enough attention. For years, American agriculture was built on trust. Trust that markets would stay open, trust that global partners would stay reliable, and trust that policymakers would protect the backbone of the country. But when tariffs slammed into place, that trust shattered instantly. Soybean prices dropped. Pork shipments stalled. Ships that once carried American crops overseas sat empty. And as markets slipped away, so did hope. Farmers didn't want to rely on government checks. They wanted to rely on the markets they earned through decades of hard work. Yet every time a new tariff hit, it felt like another door closing. The intro to this crisis is simple. A trade war began, but farmers became the battlefield. And in that battlefield, they weren't winning. Others used them to repair machinery or pay overdue bills. But none of them felt relief. Because behind every check was the reminder that things were broken. Markets in China, Europe, and Mexico had already found new suppliers. And when buyers switch to other countries, coming back becomes uncertain. These weren't temporary setbacks, they were long-term wounds. And now, as the dust settles, farmers are asking a question that echoes across the heartland. How long can this continue? They don't want sympathy. They don't want politics. They want stability. They want policies that help them grow, not choke their markets. Without strong agriculture, America's food security weakens, rural towns decline, and family traditions disappear. The closing message is clear. Farmers aren't the enemy of economic strength. They're the foundation of it. When tariffs destroy markets, the whole nation pays the price. If America wants a strong future, it must listen to the people working the soil before their voices fade into silence. Because once a farm dies, it rarely comes back. In the end, this isn't just a story about crops, trade numbers, or political talking points. It's about the people who wake up before dawn, who work in scorching heat and freezing cold, who carry the weight of feeding an entire nation on their shoulders. These farmers didn't ask to be part of a trade war. They were pulled into it. and they've paid the highest price. Their message is simple: let markets live, let fairness return, and let the backbone of America stand strong again. Because if we lose these farms, we lose far more than fields and barns. We lose communities, traditions, and a piece of America's soul. The country cannot afford to ignore the voices rising from the heartland any longer. The warning has been given. The question now is, will we act before the silence becomes permanent?